I'll never forget the moment I saw the red lace bikini drop into her suitcase. It wasn't even discreet, like she wanted me to see. Her hair was still wet from the shower, that smug smile plastered across her face like she was daring me to say something. And the worst part? I had already said everything. Told her how I felt. Told her it was disrespectful, insane, reckless to go on a trip with her ex-fiancé. But Brooke didn't care. Brooke never cared. Not about how I felt. Not about our marriage. Not about respect. She said, "It's just Cabo. It's not like we're sharing a room." Oh yeah? Then why did I see 2 champagne glasses and 1 reservation in her email? Why did she suddenly start waxing again, shaving religiously, going to yoga 5 times a week, and texting with her phone upside down like she was 13? My name's Tyler. I'm 38. I build custom bikes and fix classic cars for a living, grease-stained hands, good money, simple life. I don't play mind games. I married Brooke because she was wild, beautiful, spontaneous. I never realized that came with a subscription to betrayal. I met her ex-fiancé once. His name's Chase. Of course it is. One of those rich, arrogant, teeth-too-white finance types who wears linen shirts and boat shoes like a damn cliché. When she told me they'd reconnected at a mutual friend's wedding and just talked, I already knew. Call it gut instinct. Call it survival. But deep down, my soul whispered, "She's lying to your face." I played it cool. At first. That night, she slid into bed next to me, her perfume thick like honey in the air. She kissed my shoulder, ran her hand over my chest like we were still in love, like she wasn't just setting up her little Mexican escape with another man. I stared at the ceiling, counting the cracks, holding back the storm. "You're quiet," she whispered. "You're loud enough for both of us," I said. She didn't get it. She never does. 3 days before the trip, I did some digging. I'm not proud of it. But when you're being played for a fool, dignity takes a back seat. I checked her laptop when she was out getting her nails done. French tips, of course, because Chase loved French tips. There it was. An email thread. Not even hidden. She titled it, "Work Retreat." But I saw the hotel name. The suite with a king bed. The champagne package. The boat rental. And the worst? A message from Chase that read, "I still remember how you tasted under the moonlight. Can't wait for round 2. I stared at that line for a long time. Like if I looked hard enough, I'd melt the screen. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just felt this void. Like someone cracked open my ribs and scooped out everything inside. I closed the laptop. I went to the garage. I built something. I welded. I drank a beer. I planned. That night at dinner, she wore red lipstick and laughed like a villain. Every movement of hers dripped with fake sweetness. She talked about packing sunscreen and her new modest swimwear. I smiled. I nodded. I offered to drop her off at the airport, because my wife wanted to go on a trip with her ex-fiancé against my wish. So I took my karma revenge, but not in anger, not with violence, with precision. See, Brooke forgot something. She forgot that the man she married builds custom solutions. And I had one last build for her. What I did next? Let's just say it was poetic. And it started the moment I watched her walk away at departures, blowing me a kiss like I was her loyal dog. I didn't wave back. I didn't say a word, because she was about to find out. When you stab a man like me in the back, he doesn't just bleed. He makes sure you drown in it. At 3:47 a.m., my phone buzzed. One message. From my buddy Nate. "Bro, it worked. They're in. Chase even tipped me. Dumbass." I stared at the message for a second, then chuckled. It was the kind of laugh that crawled out of your stomach after weeks of pretending to be fine. I met Nate years ago at a car show in Vegas. He's a high-end concierge now, handles everything from luxury bookings to personal enhancements for the right clients. Discreet, loyal, ruthless when needed. He owed me a favor, and I was cashing in every ounce. 2 nights before Brooke's trip, I asked him to arrange the booking for that exact resort in Cabo. I didn't want just a copy of her suite. I wanted the suite. The one Brooke and Chase would walk into, blissfully unaware it had already been rigged to record audio and video from 3 angles. Nothing illegal. Just enough to catch the truth with crystal clarity. While she was sipping cocktails and playing innocent wife on Instagram stories, I was back home in Texas watching her lips trace her ex-fiancé's jawline. Watching her fake resistance when he leaned in to kiss her. Watching her giggle like a teenager before slipping out of her sundress. She moaned his name. She said she missed the way he made her feel. She said she'd never really stopped loving him. I watched it all, without flinching, without pausing. like a surgeon examining a tumor that needed to be cut out. When she called me the next morning to check in, I didn't answer. I wanted her to feel that silence. I wanted her to wonder. Her texts started piling up. Hey babe, we just landed. Hotel is gorgeous. Can't wait to tell you all about it. You okay? Haven't heard from you. Tyler. By sunset, she called again. I still didn't pick up. I was too busy forwarding the video to a private email, with a copy to my divorce lawyer. But that was just phase 1. Phase 2 was more satisfying. See, Brooke forgot that when she married me, she made certain financial decisions, like putting her name on a joint investment account, like linking her credit card to a business I funded, like trusting me to never pull the plug. So, I did. I drained the account. Not illegally, just took what was mine. I froze the shared credit. I revoked her access to everything with my name on it. And then I booked myself a cabin in Colorado with no cell signal, just whiskey and peace. That night, Nate texted me one last time. Bro. She just found out about the cards. Screaming at the concierge like a lunatic. Chase bailed. Took the early flight home. I smiled. She always thought she could play both sides. Always thought she could lie with a straight face and manipulate her way out of everything. But not this time. Not when the evidence was locked in a cloud folder titled Brooke's True Vacation. When she got back to Texas, she found the locks changed. A box on the porch with her essentials. Inside was the red lace bikini, folded neatly next to a flash drive. She blew up my phone for hours. Left voicemails that flipped between sobbing apologies and cursing me out like I was the villain. But I wasn't angry anymore. I was calm. Because I finally saw her for what she was. Not just a liar. Not just disloyal. But a scoundrel in stilettos. A manipulator dressed in perfume and pity. I didn't need revenge. I just needed her gone. And now, she was. Almost. There was still one final move left to make. One thing she never expected. One thing that would flip her entire game upside down. It was coming. And it would hit harder than anything she ever saw coming. Because I wasn't done yet. She showed up at my shop 2 days later. Tight jeans, tear-streaked mascara, that same fake sweetness she used whenever she wanted something. The same look she gave me when she convinced me to co-sign her car. When she begged me to trust her about Chase. When she said she was just going to clear the air with him. She leaned on the hood of a '67 Mustang I was restoring, arms crossed like she owned the place. Tyler, we need to talk. I didn't even look up. Just wiped the grease off my hands and kept tightening the bolts. I made a mistake. Okay, she continued, her voice cracking in that calculated way she used to manipulate. I didn't mean for it to happen. One thing led to another and... Stop, I said. Calm. Controlled. Dead quiet. You meant it. She froze. I saw everything. Heard everything. Every damn thing you whispered to him. Every lie. Every moan. Don't insult me by acting like it just happened. She opened her mouth like she was about to deny it, but saw the look in my eyes and knew better. I was confused, she whispered. I didn't think you cared anymore. You've been so distant. I slammed the hood shut. Hard. You were distant the moment he popped back into your life. Don't act like I pushed you away. You leapt. She stepped closer. We can fix this. Please. I know I messed up, but I still love you. I do. That word, love, tasted like poison coming out of her mouth. You love me, I said, laughing bitterly. You told him you still loved him. Said you missed his hands. Said you thought about him when you were with me. She started crying again. Not for me. For herself. It didn't mean anything, she sobbed. It was a mistake. I walked past her, unlocked the office, and pulled out a manila folder. I handed it to her. Inside were the divorce papers. Already signed. You don't make a mistake with plane tickets, Brooke. You don't accidentally pack lingerie and book a luxury suite. You planned it. You followed through. And now you get to live with it. She stared at the papers like they were written in another language. You're throwing away 6 years? She gasped. You threw them away the moment you stepped onto that plane, I said, staring her down. I'm just taking out the trash. She didn't scream. Didn't yell. Just stood there, mouth open, realizing, maybe for the first time, that she'd lost. Then she tried the last trick in her book. You really think he wants me? She hissed. Chase left me there. Didn't even stay the weekend. You think you won? You're pathetic. You ruined my life. I leaned in just enough for her to hear me clear. No, Brooke. You ruined your life. I just made sure the ending matched the choices. She stormed out. The silence she left behind felt like oxygen. I didn't celebrate. I didn't call friends. I just sat in my office, staring at the signature on those papers. My hand had signed it. My heart hadn't caught up yet. Later that night, I opened a bottle of bourbon and sat on the back porch. The Texas sky was painted orange and blue. I watched it fade into stars. My mind kept flashing to moments, our wedding, her laugh, that first apartment where we didn't even have a couch. I remembered dancing barefoot in the kitchen. I remembered the look she used to give me before everything turned fake. I wanted to hate her. Fully, completely. But the pain doesn't let you hate that clean. What you feel is hollow. Not rage. Not sorrow. Just emptiness. But I knew one thing. I'd never let anyone cut me open like that again. And I wasn't done building yet. There was still something I had to finish. Something that had been sitting in the garage untouched for months. My next move wouldn't be about her. It'd be about me. I spent the next 3 weeks buried in that garage. The engine purred under my hands like it knew what I was going through. Piece by piece, I rebuilt the '67 Mustang from the ground up. New pistons, fresh paint, tightened belts, retuned carb. That car had been collecting dust since Brooke started pulling away. Funny how things rot when you stop paying attention. Marriages. Engines. Every morning, I'd wake up before the sun, pour a black coffee, and get to work. The silence helped. Give my mind space to breathe, to process, to heal in its own stubborn, quiet way. I didn't talk to many people. A few texts here and there. Nate checked in. My sister tried calling. I let it all go to voicemail. I was rebuilding more than metal. Then, a week after the papers were finalized, I saw her again. Not in person. On my phone. Instagram. Someone sent me a story. Said, bro. You seeing this? I almost ignored it. Curiosity won. There she was. At some lounge downtown. Dressed like she was starring in a music video. Hair curled. Red lips. That same damn bikini top layered under a see-through blouse. Laughing with some guy who wasn't Chase. Wasn't me. Another one. She clung to his arm like she needed a body to fill the void. His hand? Already sliding down the curve of her back. Her eyes? Rolling with the same hunger I used to think was only mine. I watched in silence. Not because I cared. Because I needed to see it. Needed to see what she really was when no one was watching. A storm chaser. A mirror. A void dressed like a fantasy. And suddenly, I didn't feel anything. Not jealousy. Not anger. Just this cold kind of confirmation. Like, yeah, this is who she is. This is who she always was. I shut my phone off. Tossed it on the couch and went back to the garage. The next day, I took the Mustang out for a test drive. Just me, the wind, and the roar of something I'd brought back to life with my bare hands. The highway was empty. The sky was clean. For the first time in what felt like years, I wasn't looking over my shoulder. When I stopped for gas, I saw my reflection in the window. I looked older, tired, but calmer. No more lies waiting at home. No more fake hugs. No more pretending everything was fine while my gut screamed the truth. Back at the shop, I decided to do something final. Something that marked the end. I opened up the laptop, logged into the cloud, and deleted the video. Gone. I didn't need proof anymore. I didn't need receipts or revenge or closure. I had something better. Peace. A few nights later, Nate came by with beers. He kicked his boots up on my porch and said, "Man, you look like someone who just got paroled." I laughed. "Feels like it," I told him. He took a sip, leaned back. "So what now? You gonna start dating again? Go full bachelor mode?" I shook my head. "Not yet. Maybe not for a long while. I've got rebuilding to do." "Of the car?" he asked. "Of myself," I said. He didn't laugh. Just nodded. Brooke texted once more. A long message. Something about regrets and maybe grabbing coffee to talk. I didn't reply. Because I already had all the answers I needed. And no matter how many filters she used, or how sweet her voice got, she'd never unburn what she torched. A month passed. Then 2. I didn't count the days, just the changes. Woke up easier. Slept deeper. Food started tasting like something again. Funny how betrayal strips everything down to the bone. But once you clear the ashes, you realize how much of your life was just smoke. I got new clients. Word spread that the guy with the Mustang could fix damn near anything with an engine. A few classic car collectors came by, dropped off projects that needed more than a tune-up, they needed resurrection. I understood that better than anyone now. I poured everything into that work. My hands stayed raw. My back ached. But my mind clearer than ever. Brooke's name stopped echoing in my head. Her perfume faded from the house. Her toothbrush was long gone. I changed the sheets, then the furniture, then the locks. A woman named Rachel started bringing me coffee when I worked on her dad's Thunderbird. Big brown eyes, sarcastic smile, no ring. She didn't flirt. Not directly. Just lingered. Asked questions. Laughed at my jokes like she actually meant it. But I didn't chase anything. Not yet. One night, I pulled out an old box. The one Brooke never knew about. Letters. Photos. Stubs from concerts, our wedding invitation, a picture of her asleep in the passenger seat with her feet on the dash, back when things still felt real. I looked through them, one by one. I didn't cry. I didn't smile. Just remembered. Then I took the whole box outside, poured a splash of bourbon on it, and lit the match. Watched it all curl into flame. The fire crackled like it was speaking. Maybe it was. Maybe it was saying, "You survived." The next morning, I wrote an email to my lawyer. Told him I wanted to remove Brooke from the business license completely, just in case. He replied 5 minutes later with a single line. Already done. That was the last thread. Then something happened I didn't expect. I got a call from Chase. At first, I thought it was spam. Ignored it. But then he left a voicemail. "Tyler, I know I've got no right, man, but I need to talk. About Brooke. It's not what you think. Just give me 5 minutes." I should have deleted it. Blocked him. But my gut, it twitched. So curiosity won again. I called him back. He answered like he'd been holding the phone in his hand for hours. "Thanks," he said, voice lower than I remembered. "I wasn't gonna reach out, but you should know. She told me you were abusive." I blinked. "What?" "Yeah. Said you screamed at her. Broke things. Threatened her. Said she was scared for her life." I sat there, stunned. "She told you that before Cabo?" "Yeah. Said the trip was her escape plan. That she needed someone she trusted." I couldn't speak. Couldn't move. Just stared at the empty space in front of me. "She's good," Chase said quietly. "Really good." I believed her. Until she started showing her real self again. Controlling, manipulative. She said the same things to me she probably said to you. I left after 2 days. Blocked her. I thought you should know. I hung up. Everything I'd felt. Every moment of guilt, of asking myself was I too cold? Too distant? Evaporated. She hadn't just betrayed me. She tried to erase me. Rewrite the story with her as the victim and me as the villain. That night, I slept like a damn baby. Because now I knew. I wasn't broken. I was free. A week later, I was back under the hood of a '72 Chevelle when Rachel pulled up again, this time with 2 coffees, not just one. She didn't ask if I wanted it. Just handed it over like she'd done it 100 times before. "You look less haunted," she said, watching me wipe the oil from my hands. "Thanks," I replied, cracking the lid and taking a sip. Turns out closure tastes a little like bourbon and gasoline. She laughed. It wasn't flirtatious. It was real. We didn't talk about Brooke. She didn't ask, and I didn't offer. There was a kind of unspoken agreement between us, one made of respect. I like that. The quiet. The lack of performance. She didn't wear a mask, didn't try to fix me, didn't prod like I was some broken engine she could tinker with. That night, I found myself replaying the conversation with Chase. His voice. His regret. But most of all, her lies. Brooke hadn't just cheated. She'd weaponized my silence, twisted my loyalty into something dark and unrecognizable. Told a man I was abusive, manipulative, dangerous. It wasn't enough to sleep with her ex. She had to paint herself the victim. Make sure if things blew up, she'd still land soft. That kind of rot runs deep. I looked around my house, and realized how much of her was gone now. Her coat no longer hung by the door. Her hair ties weren't strangling the faucet anymore. That damn vanilla candle she loved so much had finally burned out. It didn't feel empty. It felt mine. Then, the unexpected happened. I got a letter. Not an email. Not a text. A handwritten envelope. No return address. Inside, a note in Brooke's handwriting. "Don't throw this away. I just want you to know the truth. All of it." I almost crumpled it right then. Almost tossed it straight in the trash with the rest of her fiction. But something made me read it. "I never meant to hurt you," it began. "But the truth is, I never knew how to be loved the way you loved me. You were real. Steady. And I'm chaos. I crave attention. Validation. I lie because the silence terrifies me. I betrayed you because I thought it would make me feel powerful again. It didn't. It made me feel small." I sat down. Jaw clenched. "I blamed you to Chase because I needed to justify what I was doing. I needed someone to be the villain so I didn't feel like a monster. I'm sorry I made it you." And there it was. Not redemption. Not reconciliation. Just truth. Twisted and late. But real. She ended with, "I know you'll never forgive me. You shouldn't. But I'll always remember you as the only man who ever loved me without needing anything in return." That was my greatest loss. I folded the letter, slid it back into the envelope, and locked it in the drawer with my old pistol and my father's dog tags. It didn't change anything, but it gave the wreckage a final chapter. The next morning, I went for a ride in the Mustang. Windows down, wind in my face, the engine roaring like it had something to prove. When I passed Rachel's cafe, she waved from behind the counter. I pulled over without thinking, walked in, and ordered something sweet for once. She smiled, slid it across the counter. "What's the occasion?" I shrugged. Decided I'm done rebuilding the past. Time to start something new. She tilted her head. "That's so?" "Yeah," I said, meaning every word. "That's so." Weeks turned into months. The sting faded. Not all at once, more like in layers, the way dust settles after a storm. Some days, I'd still catch a scent, or a sound, or a memory that pulled me back. But I no longer flinched. I just let it pass. Rachel and I started talking more. Real conversations. Long ones. Not forced, not tiptoeing. She had a past, too, nothing dramatic, no scandals, just scars of her own. But she never let them define her, and that's what I admired most. She didn't carry her pain like a badge. She let it grow her, not harden her. One night, we sat on my porch under a fading sky, beers in hand, feet kicked up. She asked me, "You ever think about what would have happened if Brooke hadn't gone on that trip?" I stared at the stars for a second before answering. "She'd still be lying," I said. "I'd still be doubting my gut. Still wondering what I did wrong. Still trying to fix a woman who wanted to stay broken." Rachel nodded. "That's honest." "It's the only thing I've got left," I replied. She reached for my hand. Didn't say anything. Just held it like she'd been there 1,000 times. I didn't pull away. Not long after that, I got a message from Brooke's sister, Lindsay. We'd never been close. She was always quiet around me, almost nervous, like she was holding in things she wasn't supposed to say. Her message was short. "I just want you to know. I believed you. I always did. And I'm sorry for what she put you through." I didn't reply, but something about it settled in my chest. Maybe closure doesn't come all at once. Maybe it drips in, piece by piece, from unexpected places. My business was growing. Word of mouth spread fast. I hired another mechanic. The shop got busy, full of life. Sometimes, when I'd pull into the garage and smell oil and hear music playing from the back room, I'd smile without even realizing it. I was back, but different, stronger, less naive, more aware of what I'd give and what I'd never let someone take again. One day, while reorganizing my office, I found the original wedding photo, me in a black suit, her in that lace dress, smiling like she believed her own performance. I held it for a second, then flipped it over. On the back, in Brooke's handwriting, it said, "Forever starts here." I almost laughed. Forever. The word meant nothing now, but I wasn't bitter. I tore the photo in half. Not out of anger. Just finality. That night, I invited Rachel over for dinner. I grilled steak. She brought wine. We sat under string lights and didn't talk about the past. We talked about where we'd travel, where we'd go if time and money didn't matter. She said Italy. I said Montana. She raised an eyebrow. Mountains over romance? I grinned. Mountains don't lie. She leaned back, sipped her wine, and smiled in a way Brooke never did, without calculation. For once, I didn't feel like I was bracing for betrayal. I felt steady. And that was the real revenge. Not the video, not the freezing of the accounts, not even watching her spiral. The revenge was becoming untouchable to her. Unreachable. A man she couldn't twist anymore. She gave me pain, but I made it into something she could never take credit for. Peace. Purpose. A clean slate. And just maybe, something real with someone who saw me, not just what I could give. A year to the day after Brooke's little vacation with her ex, I found myself standing at the edge of a cliff in Glacier National Park, Montana. The same place I once said I'd go when I wanted peace. And damn if it didn't deliver. Miles of pine stretching into forever. The air so clean it felt like it was rinsing out my lungs. I stood there, no distractions, no phone, no noise, just me, wind, and sky. And I realized I'd made it. Not just out of the marriage. Out of the storm. Out of the version of myself that accepted less than what I deserved. There was a time when I would have done anything to make her stay. Pleaded. Bargained. sacrificed pieces of myself just to keep her happy. But now? Now I wouldn't even open the damn door. She taught me something I didn't want to learn, something no man wants to admit. Love doesn't mean saving someone who doesn't want to be saved. It means knowing when to save yourself. People ask if I regret it. If I regret marrying her. Wasting those years. I don't. Because I learned to trust my gut. Learned how to spot a lie hiding behind a pretty smile. Learned how to rebuild something stronger from ashes. I wouldn't be who I am now if I hadn't gone through that hell. If I hadn't lost everything, I never would have found what really matters. Now I don't chase. I don't settle. I don't entertain fake love dressed up in grand gestures. I know what I bring to the table. I built the damn table. Rachel? She came with me on that Montana trip. Drove half the way, talked the rest. No drama. No games. Just us. Real. Simple. She never tried to be the opposite of Brooke. She didn't have to. She was just honest. And that was enough. One night, as we watched the sun bleed into the mountains, she asked me what I'd say to a man going through what I went through. I looked at her, then at the fire we'd built, and I said, walk away the first time your gut screams something's wrong. Don't explain your worth to someone committed to misunderstanding it. And never confuse chaos for passion. It'll gut you slowly and make you thank it. She nodded, didn't say a word, just reached over and held my hand. That was the moment I knew. It wasn't the revenge that healed me. It wasn't exposing her lies or watching her fall apart. It was the choice to stop bleeding for someone who wouldn't even hand me a bandage. That's what saved me. And now? I sleep deep. I laugh loud. I live free. My wife wanted to go on a trip with her ex-fiancé against my wish. So I took my karma revenge. But karma isn't about hurting them back. It's about watching them lose access to everything they never deserved. Including you.